The stars shone bright against the endless black of space as Lieutenant Olivia Martinez stared at her monitor in the communications center of Earth Space Command. It was a quiet day, like many before it. Earth had only been part of the Galactic Confederation for 8 years. Most aliens still viewed humans with caution and sometimes fear. Olivia sipped her coffee and checked the routine signals from Earth's small fleet of ships. A red light began to flash on her console. She sat up straight, suddenly alert. The computer was picking up a non-human transmission on an emergency channel. "Commander Harris," she called out, "you need to see this." Her supervisor walked over, his face serious. "What is it, Lieutenant?" "Distress signal, sir. Non-human origin. It's coming from the Proxima Centauri system." Commander Harris leaned closer to look at the signal pattern. "Put it through." Olivia's fingers moved quickly across her screen. The message played, filled, with static but clear enough to understand. "This is diplomatic vessel Thoreaus of the Valeron Conclave. We are under attack by unknown hostile forces in the Proxima Centauri system. Our shields are failing. Request immediate assistance from any Confederation vessels." The voice sounded scared. Olivia had met a few Velerans during her training. They were tall, peaceful beings with light blue skin that seemed to shimmer in certain lights. Their home world had no large predators or extreme weather. They had never needed to develop strong weapons or fighting skills. "Send this up the chain, Lieutenant," Harris ordered. "Mark it Priority 1. Within 20 minutes, Admiral Samantha Nguyen had called an emergency meeting. Captain Daniel Wright of the UES. Horizon was connected via video link. His ship was the closest to Proxima Centauri. "The situation is clear," Admiral Nguyen said, looking at the officers gathered around the table. "The Velerans are under attack, and they've asked for help. The Confederation Council has formally requested Earth's assistance." Captain Wright nodded on the screen. He was a tall man with short gray hair and eyes that had seen many battles before humans even knew aliens existed. "The Horizon can reach Proxima Centauri in 6 hours at maximum speed," he said. "Do we know who's attacking the Velerans?" asked Colonel Frank Miller. Admiral Nguyen shook her head. "No, but this is important, people. The Confederation has been slow to trust us. They classify Earth as a Class 5 death world, a planet so dangerous that it produces unusually tough species. Most of them think we're too aggressive, too unpredictable." "They're not wrong," someone muttered. "Maybe not," the Admiral continued, "but this is our chance to show them what humanity can offer. Captain Wright, you have your orders. Take the Horizon to Proxima Centauri and assist the Valeron vessel." "Yes, ma'am," Wright replied. On the bridge of the UES Horizon, Captain Wright ended the transmission and turned to his crew. "Set course for Proxima Centauri maximum speed," he ordered. "All hands to battle stations." Lieutenant Ryan Phillips at navigation entered the coordinates. "Course set, Captain. 8 hours 47 minutes. Weapons status?" Wright asked. "Lieutenant." Susan Baker responded immediately. "All weapon systems online and ready, sir. Shields at full capacity." Wright nodded. The Horizon was Earth's newest and most advanced warship. It carried technology developed by humans, with some upgrades based on Confederation science. No one knew yet how it would perform against alien attackers. In the ship's mess hall, Marine Sergeant Joe Foster was eating lunch when the announcement came. Red lights began to flash in the corridors. "All Marines report for briefing in 10 minutes," said a voice over the speakers. Joe quickly finished his food and headed to the briefing room. 24 other Marines were already gathering there. They were men and women from different parts of Earth, all highly trained fighters. Major Lisa Allen walked in and stood at the front of the room. "Listen up, people. We've received a distress call from a Valeron diplomatic vessel in the Proxima Centauri system. They're under attack by unknown forces. We'll reach them in less than 6 hours. She brought up a holographic image of a sleek blue ship. This is what we're looking for. The Velerans are a peaceful species. They have minimal weapons, and their ships aren't built for combat. Our job is to rescue them and their vessel, if possible. What? About the attackers, ma'am? Joe asked. Unknown at this time. Be prepared for anything. The captain wants boarding teams ready as soon as we arrive. First squad will secure the Veleran ship. Second and third squads will be on standby for offensive action against the attackers if needed. Joe began mentally checking his equipment. List. In the 8 years since first contact, humans had only had a few minor skirmishes with other species. Nothing major. This could be different. Back on the bridge, Captain Wright was reviewing everything they knew about the Proxima Centauri system. It was the closest star system to Earth, just over 4 light years away. Before FTL travel, it would have taken years to reach it. Now they would be there in hours. Captain, said Communications Officer Kelly Barnes, I have a live feed from the Veleran ship. Put it through, Wright ordered. The main screen showed a Veleran with pale blue skin that had turned almost white with fear. Behind him, other Velerans were moving quickly, and sparks flew from damaged equipment. This is Ambassador Zorel of the Veleran Conclave, the alien said. Is this an Earth vessel responding to our distress call? Yes, Ambassador. I'm Captain Daniel Wright of the UES Horizon. We're on our way to your position. 8 hours, less than 6 hours. Can you hold out until then? The ambassador's large eyes blinked rapidly. We think so. They have damaged our engines and weapons, but our shields are still functioning at minimal capacity. They seem to be waiting for something. Do you know who they are or what they want? Wright asked. They call themselves the Krax Dominion. We've never encountered them before. They say we violated their territory, but this system isn't claimed by any Confederation number. Wright frowned. The Krax Dominion isn't in any of our databases. They're not part of the Confederation, Zorel explained. Our sensors show they have boarding craft ready. Captain, our vessel carries sensitive information about Confederation defense networks. This information cannot fall into hostile hands. Understood, Ambassador. We'll be there as soon as possible. Try to maintain your shields and prepare your people for evacuation if necessary. Thank you, Captain, Zorel said, his voice shaking slightly. I must tell you, when we sent out the distress call, we didn't expect humans to respond. Your reputation in the Confederation is complex. Wright smiled. We know what the other species think of us, Ambassador. But today, that reputation might save your lives. Horizon out. As the Horizon raced through space toward Proxima Centauri, the crew prepared for battle. In the armory, Marines checked their combat suits and weapons. In medical, doctors prepared for casualties. On the bridge, officers studied what little information they had about the area and the possible enemy. Earth had joined the stars hoping for peace. But humans knew better than most that peace sometimes had to be defended with force. The Velerans had called for help, and humanity would answer, not with the brutality that other species feared, but with the courage and determination that Earth's harsh history had forged in them. The UES Horizon entered FTL speed, its engines glowing blue. Against the darkness of space, carrying humanity's finest toward their first real test among the stars. The UES Horizon dropped out of FTL travel at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system. The bridge crew watched their screens carefully as the ship's sensors scanned the area. 7 unknown vessels detected, Captain, reported Lieutenant Eric Johnson. At the tactical station, they're surrounding the Veleran diplomatic ship. Configuration doesn't match anything in our database. Captain Wright stood from his chair and moved closer to the main view screen. Magnify, The screen showed a damaged blue Veleron ship surrounded by 7 dark, angular vessels with red markings. The enemy ships were arranged in an attack formation. Life. Signs on the Veleron vessel? Wright asked. Reading 23 Veleron life forms, said Science Officer Paul Rivera. Their ship has taken heavy damage. Their engines are offline, and their shields are at 12%. Communications Officer Kelly Barnes turned in her seat. Captain, I've established a visual link with the Veleron ship. On screen, right? Ordered. Ambassador Zorel appeared, looking even more frightened than before. His blue skin was now almost white, and his hands shook as he spoke. Earth vessel, we are grateful for your response. The attackers have disabled our propulsion systems and are attempting to board. They've already tried twice, but our security teams managed to hold them off. We cannot survive a third attempt. We understand, Wright replied calmly. The horizon is moving to intercept. Hold tight, Ambassador. Wright turned to his navigation officer. Lieutenant Phillips, bring us in between the Velerons and those ships. Lieutenant Baker, power up weapon systems, but hold fire unless I give the order. Yes, sir, they both responded. The horizon moved forward, its powerful engines glowing blue against the blackness of space. As they approached, 3 of the unknown vessels broke away from the Veleron diplomatic ship and turned toward the human warship. They're scanning us, Rivera reported. Let them look, Wright said. I want them to see exactly what they're dealing with. Barnes touched her earpiece. Captain, they're hailing us. Put them through. The screen changed to show a reptilian face, with vertical pupils and dark green scales. The alien had sharp teeth and a ridge of spines along its head. This is Commander Vashk of the Krax Dominion, the alien said in a harsh voice. This matter does not concern your species, humans. The Velerons have violated our territorial claims. Depart immediately, or face destruction. Wright stood tall, his face calm. This is Captain Daniel Wright of the United Earth Space Command Vessel Horizon. You are attacking a diplomatic vessel of the Galactic Confederation in neutral space. According to Confederation records, this system is not claimed by any species. Power down your weapons and withdraw immediately. The Krax commander hissed, showing more of his sharp teeth. The Confederation does not recognize our claims because they fear our strength. But they will learn, as will you. We know of Earth. Your species is new to the stars. You do not understand the true power you face. We understand more than you think, Wright replied. This is your final warning. Stand down. You have made your choice, Vashk said. The screen went dark. They're powering up weapons, Johnson reported. Shields at maximum, Wright ordered. All hands brace for impact. The 3 Krax ships fired in unison. Green energy beams struck the horizon shields, causing the ship to shake. Shields holding at 92%, Baker reported. Wright nodded. Return fire. Target their weapons. Systems only. The horizon's laser batteries fired with precision. 2 beams hit the lead Krax vessel, causing explosions along its hull. Direct hit on their main weapons array, Johnson said. Their firepower is reduced by 40%. Wright turned to Major Lisa Allen, who stood ready at the back of the bridge. Major, prepare your boarding teams. We need to secure the Veleron vessel and evacuate their diplomats. Ready when you are, Captain, she replied. In the ship's launch. Bay, Sergeant Joe Foster and his squad checked their combat armor one last time. The suits were dark gray with blue lights, designed to protect against both weapons fire and the vacuum of space. Each Marine carried a pulse rifle and sidearm. Lieutenant Nicole Carter, the squad leader, addressed her team. Listen up. We're dealing with an unknown enemy species. They appear to be reptilian and highly aggressive. Our mission is to board the Veleron vessel secure it from any enemy forces, and protect the diplomats until we can evacuate them. What about the enemy borders? Joe asked. Neutralize any hostile forces you encounter, Carter replied. But remember, we're here to protect, not start a war. Use appropriate force. The ship shook again as another volley from the cracked ships hit their shields. Boarding teams, stand by for launch, came Captain Wright's voice over the combs. The Marines moved to their assault shuttles. Joe and 5 others entered the first shuttle, strapping themselves into the seats. The shuttle pilot, Lieutenant Greg Peters, began the launch sequence. Launching in 30 seconds, Peters announced. On the bridge, Wright watched as the Horizon exchanged fire with the Crack's vessels. The human ship's superior targeting systems were making a difference, but the Crack's ships were tough. The other, 4 enemy vessels are moving to engage, Johnson warned. Wright nodded. Launch the boarding teams now. Lieutenant Baker, target the engines on the closest ship. Let's give our people some cover. The Horizon's main cannon fired, striking one of the Crack's vessels and sending it spinning away, trailing debris. From the Horizon's launch bay, 3 assault shuttles raced toward the Velaran diplomatic vessel Dot in the lead shuttle. Joe felt the acceleration push him back into his seat. Through the viewport, he could see energy weapons firing between the Horizon and the Crack ships. Their shuttle was small and fast, making it a difficult target. Approaching the Velaran vessel, Peters announced. I'm detecting a breach in their hull near the main airlock. We can dock there. Do it. Carter ordered. The shuttle maneuvered toward the damaged section of the Velaran ship. With a gentle bump, they connected to the airlock. Atmosphere reading is stable in this section, Peters said. But it could change quickly if they take more damage. Carter stood, helmets on, weapons ready. The Marines sealed their helmets and checked their weapons. Joe felt his heart beating faster, but his hands were steady. This was what humans trained for. Remember, Carter said, the Velarans are tall with blue skin. The enemy is reptilian. Don't shoot the wrong aliens. The airlock cycled open, and the Marines moved into the Velaran ship in practiced formation. The corridors were wider and taller, and human ships with soft blue lighting. They could hear sounds of fighting ahead. Life signs? Carter asked. Multiple Velaran readings ahead, said Corporal Diane Watson, checking her scanner. And something else. Probably the Cracks. They're in combat. Move out, Carter ordered. Double time. The Marines ran forward through the corridor. They turned a corner and found their first battle. 3 tall, thin Velarans with simple weapons were taking cover behind a fallen piece of equipment. They were firing at 5 reptilian figures advancing toward them. The Cracks were nearly 7 feet tall, with natural armor and powerful limbs. They carried heavy energy weapons and were closing in on the outnumbered Velarans. Open fire, Carter commanded. Protect the Velarans. The Marines fired their pulse rifles in perfect unison. Blue energy bolts struck the Crack's attackers from behind. 2 fell immediately. The others turned, surprised by the new threat. One of the Cracks roared and fired at the humans. Joe rolled to the side, feeling the heat of the energy blast pass over. He came up on one knee and fired 3 precise shots. The Crack soldier fell. Within seconds, all the Crack's attackers were down. The Velarans stared at the humans with wide, shocked eyes. We're from the UES Horizon, Carter said, approaching the Velarans. We're here to help. The lead Velaran lowered his weapon. You engaged them directly? No species in the Confederation would have attempted such a thing. Carter just nodded. Are there more of them on your ship? Yes, the Velaran said. They're trying to reach the bridge. Our captain and the ambassador are there with the last of our security team. Show us the way, Carter said, and stay behind. U.S. As they moved deeper into the ship, The sound of the battle outside continued. The humans had come to help, and the real fight was just beginning. The corridors of the Velaran ship echoed with the sounds of battle. Lieutenant Carter led her Marine squad forward, with Sergeant Joe Foster covering their right flank. The 3 Velaran crew members followed behind them, still looking shocked at how quickly the humans had dealt with the Crack's attackers. "How far to the bridge?" Carter asked the lead Velaran. 2 more levels up," he replied. His name was Navan, a junior security officer. "The lifts are not working. We must use the emergency ladders." Carter nodded and spoke into her com. "Captain Wright, this is Carter. We've made contact with Velaran crew and eliminated 5 Crack's boarders. Moving to secure the bridge now." "Good work, Lieutenant," Wright's voice came back. "The situation outside is heating up. All 7 Crack's vessels are now engaging us. Our shields are holding, but we need to get those diplomats out quickly." "Understood, sir." They reached a sealed door that Navan opened with his security code. Inside was a vertical shaft with ladder rungs built into the wall. "This leads directly to the bridge level," Navan said. Carter studied her scanner. "I'm picking up multiple life signs above us. Some Velaran, some must be Cracks." "I'll take point," Joe said, moving to the ladder. "Watson, you're behind me. Martinez and Lay, cover our rear." The teens started climbing. The ladder was designed for the taller Velarans, so the humans had to stretch a bit for each row. Joe reached the top first and peered through a small window in the door. He could see more Crack soldiers trying to cut through a sealed door at the end of the corridor. "I count 7 hostiles," Joe whispered. "They're trying to breach what I assume is the bridge." Carter reached his position and looked for herself. "That door won't hold much longer. We need to take them now." She turned to Navan. "Is that the bridge they're trying to enter?" The Velaran nodded. "Yes, our captain and the ambassador will be inside with any surviving security personnel." Carter made a quick plan. "Joe, you and Watson take the left side. Martinez and Lee, right side. I'll go center with Jackson. Standard breach pattern." On my mark, the Marines readied their weapons. Carter counted down with her fingers. 3, 2, 1. Joe pushed the door open, and the Marines poured into the corridor, taking up positions behind support columns. The Cracks were so focused on cutting through the bridge door that they didn't notice the humans at first. "Earth Defense Forces." Carter shouted, "Drop your weapons." The Cracks spun around, raising their heavy energy rifles. One of them, wearing more elaborate armor, hissed an order. The reptilian soldiers opened fire immediately. Energy blasts hit the column Joe was using for cover, scorching the metal. He leaned out and fired 3 quick shots, hitting 1 Crack in the shoulder. The alien staggered but didn't fall. "They have natural armor," Joe called out. "Aim for the joints or the head." The Marines adjusted their aim. Corporal Watson fired a burst that caught a Crack soldier in the neck, dropping him instantly. Private Martinez used her rifle's scope to place a perfect shot between the eyes of another. The Crack's leader pointed at Carter and fired a powerful blast. She rolled away just in time, the energy bolt melting part of the floor where she had been. Standing, Joe took the opportunity to fire at the exposed area under the leader's arm. The Cracks roared in pain, but stayed on his feet. "These things don't go down easy," Joe muttered. The firefight intensified. The Marines worked together flawlessly, covering each other and moving from position to position to confuse the enemy. The Cracks fought fiercely, but lacked the teamwork. Of the humans, Private Lee was hit in the leg by a glancing shot. He grunted in pain, but kept firing. "I'm okay," he said when Carter looked his way. Armor took most of it. After 2 minutes of intense fighting, 5 of the 7 Cracks were down. The leader and one other backed toward the bridge door they had been trying to cut through. "Surrender," Carter called out. "You're outnumbered." The Crack's leader snarled something in his own language. Then, to everyone's surprise, he pressed a device on his wrist. A glowing energy shield appeared around him and his remaining soldier. "What is that?" Watson asked. "Some kind of portable shield," Carter replied. "Keep your distance." The Crack's leader spoke in heavily accented Standard Galactic. "Humans, your interference is not expected. The Crack's Dominion will remember this." While still protected by the shield, the leader fired at the bridge door lock, which had already been weakened by their earlier attempts. The door slid open partway. Before the Marines could react, the two Cracks slipped through the gap. "Move," Carter ordered. "They're going after the diplomats." The Marines rushed forward. Joe reached the door first and forced it open wider. Inside was the bridge of the Velaran ship. It was larger than a human bridge, with tall control stations and a central command area. 4 Velaran security officers lay on the floor, either dead or wounded. 3 more were still on their feet. Weapons pointed at the 2 Cracks who had entered. At the center of the bridge stood a tall, dignified Velaran wearing ornate blue robes. This had to be Ambassador Zorl. Behind him were several other Velarans. In similar but simpler clothing, the rest of the diplomatic team. The Crack's leader still had his energy shield activated, making him untouchable. He pointed his weapon directly at the ambassador. "Give us the data core," the Cracks demanded, "or you all die." Joe assessed the situation quickly. The shield protected the Cracks from the front, but maybe not from all angles. He caught Carter's eye and made a small hand signal. She nodded slightly. "Ambassador Zorl," Carter called out, keeping the Cracks' attention on her. "We're from the UES Horizon. Captain Wright sent us to evacuate you and your team." The ambassador's eyes widened. "Humans, you made it through." While Carter kept talking, Joe slowly moved along the edge of the bridge, working his way around to the side of the Crack's leader. The remaining Crack soldier was watching the other Marines, not noticing Joe's movement. "Your ship is surrounded," the Crack's leader hissed at the ambassador. "Your human friends cannot save you. Give us the Confederation defense codes now." Ambassador Zorl stood straight, showing unexpected courage. "I will not betray the Confederation." The Crack's leader raised his weapon. "Then you die first." Joe saw his chance. He had reached a position perpendicular to the Crack's shield. In one fluid motion, he raised his rifle and fired 3 precise shots. The energy bolts passed through the side of the shield where it was weakest and struck the Crack's leader in the head. The reptilian alien collapsed. The second Cracks turned in surprise. Before he could react, Carter and Watson both fired, their shots hitting him squarely in the chest. He fell beside his leader. The bridge was suddenly quiet, except for the distant sounds of the space battle outside. The Velarans stared at the humans with a mixture of fear, awe, and gratitude. Ambassador Zorl stepped forward. "You saved us." "How? Can we thank you?" "Thank us by moving quickly, Ambassador," Carter replied. "We need to get you and your team to our shuttle. The Horizon is still engaged with the Crack's fleet." Carter touched her comb. "Captain Wright, we've secured the bridge and the ambassador. All Crack's borders have been neutralized. Ready to begin evacuation." "Good timing, Lieutenant," Wright responded. "Their reinforcements just arrived. 4 more Crack ships have entered the system. Get our people and the Velarans out now." Joe helped a wounded Velaran to his feet. "Time to go, sir. Things are about to get much worse outside." As they began to evacuate the bridge, the ship rocked violently. A new round of Cracks attacks had begun. The race to escape was now underway, and the real test of human courage was just beginning. The Veleron ship shook again as another blast from the Crack's vessels hit its weakened shields. Lieutenant Carter led the group through the corridors, Marines in front and back, with the Veleron diplomats in the middle. Ambassador Zorel walked beside. Carter, his long blue fingers clutching a small metal cylinder. "What is that, Ambassador?" Carter asked, pointing to the cylinder. "This contains the data the Cracks want," Zorel replied quietly. "Defense codes and maps for several Confederation worlds. If they had captured this—" "They didn't," Carter said, firmly, "and they won't." Joe was at the rear of the group, helping a limping Veleron diplomat. He checked his scanner and frowned. "Lieutenant, I'm picking up more life signs below us." "Not Veleron," Carter nodded grimly. "They've sent more boarding parties. We need to move faster." The group reached the emergency shaft they had used earlier. Going down would be quicker than climbing up had been. The Marines helped the Velerans, who were not used to such physical exertion. When they reached the lower level, Carter paused to check her scanner. "There are cracks between us and the shuttle," she said. "At least 8 of them. Is there another way?" Ambassador Zorel asked. Navan, a Veleron security officer, spoke up. "There is a maintenance tunnel that runs parallel to the main corridor. It's narrow, but it could get us close to your docking point." "Show us," Carter ordered. Navan led them to a small panel in the wall. Behind it was a tight passage meant for repair workers. The Velerans had to bend low to enter, and even the humans found it cramped. "This is going to slow us down," Joe said as they crawled through the passage. "But at least the Cracks are too big to follow us in here." They moved as quickly as possible through the maintenance tunnel. After several minutes, Navan stopped at another panel. "This exits near your shuttle dock." Carter checked her scanner again. "I'm reading 4 Cracks just outside this panel. They must be guarding the area." "They know we're trying to evacuate," Watson said. Carter thought quickly. "We need a distraction." She turned to Private Martinez. "Can you rig one of your grenades to emit an electromagnetic pulse? Something that will knock out their comms, but not damage the ship?" Martinez nodded. "Give me 2 minutes." While Martinez worked, Carter contacted the horizon. "Captain Wright, what's your status?" "Not good, Lieutenant," came the reply. "The Cracks. Reinforcements have surrounded us. Our shields are down to 60%. We've disabled 2 of their vessels, but we're outnumbered." "How close are you to extraction?" "We've got the ambassador and 10 other diplomats. 4 Cracks are blocking our path to the shuttle. We're working on it. Work faster," Wright said. "I don't know how much longer we can hold them off." Martinez finished modifying her grenade. "Ready, Lieutenant. This will create a localized EMP. It should disable their equipment for about 30 seconds. "That's all we need," Carter said. She turned to her team. "Joe, Watson, and Lee, you'll go first. Martinez, Jackson, and I will cover the diplomats. Ambassador, stay close to me." Joe took the modified grenade. "On your signal, Lieutenant." Carter counted down with her fingers. 3, 2, 1. Joe opened the panel slightly and tossed the grenade into the corridor. There was a soft thump and a brief flash of blue light. Immediately, Joe pushed the panel fully open and jumped out, followed by Watson and Lee. The 4 Cracks guards were looking at their disabled, weapons in confusion when the Marines attacked. Joe tackled the nearest Cracks, driving his shoulder into the alien's midsection. The Cracks was stronger, but Joe was quicker. He struck the vulnerable spot under the alien's jaw with the butt of his rifle. The Cracks went down. Watson and Lee engaged the other guards. Despite their size and strength, the Cracks were not prepared for the speed and ferocity of the human attack. Within seconds, all 4 guards were neutralized. Clear. Joe called. Carter led the diplomats out of the maintenance tunnel. "Move to the shuttle now." They ran the short distance to where their shuttle was docked. The pilot, Lieutenant Peters, had the engines running and ready. "Everyone aboard," Carter ordered. "Quick!" The Velerans climbed into the shuttle, helped by the Marines. Joe was the last one at the door, scanning the corridor behind them. "More cracks coming," he shouted, spotting movement at the far end of the passage. Energy blasts struck the wall near the shuttle. Joe returned fire, giving the others time to board. A blast grazed his shoulder, burning through his armor. He grunted in pain but kept firing. "Foster, get in now." Carter yelled from inside the shuttle. Joe fired one last burst, then jumped into the shuttle. The door sealed behind him as more cracks rounded the corner, firing at the shuttle. "Go, go, go," Carter told Peters. The shuttle detached from the Veleran ship and accelerated away. Through the viewport, they could see the space battle raging. The U.E.'s horizon was surrounded by Crack's vessels, exchanging fire. The human ship's superior technology was evident, but it was clearly outnumbered. "Horizon, this is Shuttle 1, Peters called. "We have the package." "Repeat, we have the ambassador." "And diplomats secure. Requesting immediate pickup." "Acknowledged, Shuttle 1, came the reply. "We're a bit busy at the moment." "Stand by." On the bridge of the horizon, Captain Wright watched as his ship took another hit from the Crack's fleet. "Shields at 42%. Lieutenant Baker reported. "We've disabled 3 enemy vessels, but there are still 8 active." Wright made a quick decision. "Lieutenant Phillips, plot a course directly through their formation. Lieutenant Baker, divert all available power to forward shields and weapons." "Sir?" Phillips looked surprised. "That's going to put us right in the middle of their crossfire." "Exactly," Wright said with a grim smile. "They won't expect it. Sometimes the best defense is a bold offense." The Horizon's engines flared as the ship accelerated directly toward the center of the Crack's formation. The enemy vessels adjusted their positions, trying to maintain their advantage. "They're concentrating their fire," Baker warned. "Hold course," Wright ordered. "Firing solutions on all targets. On my mark." The Horizon plunged into the heart of the enemy formation. Just as the Crack ships prepared to fire, Wright gave the command. "Now, fire all weapons." The human ship unleashed a devastating barrage in all directions simultaneously. The unexpected tactic caught the Cracks off guard. 2 more of their ships were hit directly in their engine sections, exploding in bright flashes. "Shuttle 1, this is Horizon," Wright called. "We've created a gap in their formation. Approach from Vector 370 and prepare for emergency docking." In the shuttle, Peters adjusted course. "Hold on, everyone. This is going to be rough." The small craft raced toward the horizon, weaving through debris and energy blasts. Ambassador Zorel and the other Velerans watched with wide eyes as the human pilot demonstrated flying skills they had never seen before. "Your people are remarkable," Zorel said quietly to Carter. "We thought humans were just aggressive and dangerous. We never understood what that truly meant until today." "We're survivors, Ambassador," Carter replied. "On Earth, you adapt or you die. It made us tough, but it also taught us to protect those who can't protect themselves." The shuttle approached the Horizon's emergency docking bay as the larger ship continued to battle the remaining Crack's vessels. With a skilled maneuver, Peters aligned with the docking port and locked on. "Docking complete," he reported. "Cycling airlock now." As the shuttle's door opened to the Horizon's interior, Captain Wright's voice came over the comms. "All hands, prepare for emergency FTL jump. Lieutenant Carter, get those diplomats to secure quarters immediately." Joe looked out the viewport. One last time. The Crack ships were regrouping, preparing for another attack. But they had underestimated human determination and courage. The battle wasn't over, but the first victory belonged to the Deathworlders from Earth. The UE's horizon shuddered as it prepared for the emergency FTL jump. Captain Wright stood on the bridge, watching the tactical display as the remaining crack ships closed in. FTL drives at 97%, reported Lieutenant Phillips. Ready to jump in 10 seconds. Shields down to 28%, Lieutenant Baker added. We can't take much more of this, Captain. Wright nodded calmly. Stay on course. All weapons, focus on the lead vessel. Give them something to remember us by. The Horizon's main cannons fired one last barrage. The energy beams struck the largest crack ship directly in its command section. Explosions rippled across its hull. FTL ready, Phillips announced. Jump! Wright ordered. The stars outside the viewports stretched into long lines as the Horizon leaped into faster-than-light travel. The ship vibrated for several seconds, then stabilized as they escaped the battle. Wright let out a slow breath. Damage report. Multiple hull breaches on decks 3 and 4, Baker replied. Emergency force fields are holding. Engineering. Reports the port engine is operating at 60% capacity. Medical reports 12 injured, none critical. And our guests? Ambassador Zorel and the other Velerans are in secure quarters on deck 2. Lieutenant Carter reports they're all safe, though some have minor injuries. Wright nodded. Set course for Earth. Best possible speed. Yes, sir, Phillips replied. Estimated arrival time, 14 hours. Wright turned to his communications. Officer, Lieutenant Barnes, send a full report to Admiral Nguyen. Include all sensor data from the encounter. The Confederation will want to know about this new threat. Right away, Captain. Wright left the bridge to check on their passengers. He found Ambassador Zorel and the Veleron delegation in the ships. Conference room. Lieutenant Carter and Sergeant Foster stood nearby, looking tired but alert. Ambassador Zorel rose as Wright entered. The tall blue alien bowed slightly. Captain Wright, we owe you and your crew our lives and our gratitude. Wright shook his head. No thanks necessary, Ambassador. We responded to your distress call just as any Confederation vessel would have done. Zorel made a sound that might have been a gentle laugh. But that is precisely the point, Captain. No other Confederation vessel did respond. Only Earth, only humans. Another Veleran diplomat spoke up. The others fear you. They call you Deathworlders and worry about your aggression. They do not understand that such strength can be used to protect as well as to harm. Wright smiled slightly. We've noticed the caution with which the Confederation treats us. Perhaps this incident will help change some minds. It will do more than that, Zorel said firmly. When we return to Confederation space, I will personally speak to the High Council about Earth's actions today. The Crack's dominion is clearly a significant threat, one that the peaceful species of the Confederation are ill-equipped to face. In the hours that followed, the Horizon continued its journey back to Earth. The medical team treated both human and Veleran injuries. The engineering crew worked to repair damage from the battle. And in the mess hall, human Marines and Veleran diplomats shared meals and stories. Joe sat across from Nivan, the Veleran security officer who had helped them during the evacuation. The alien was eating a simple vegetable dish that the ship's chef had prepared for the Velerans. Your people fought with remarkable skill, Nivan said. I have never seen such direct combat tactics. Joe shrugged. It's how we train. On Earth, we have a saying, the best defense is a good offense. Sometimes you have to meet force with force. On our world, there is little need for such thinking, Nivan replied. We have few natural predators, stable weather, abundant resources. We evolved seeking harmony, not dominance. Different worlds, different paths, Joe said, but we can learn from each other. Navan nodded thoughtfully. Perhaps that is why the universe brought our species together. 14 hours later, the horizon arrived at Earth. The great blue planet filled the viewports as the ship moved into orbit. Ambassador Zorel and several other Velerans stood on the observation deck, looking down at humanity's homeworld. So much water, one diplomat remarked, and such extreme weather patterns. No wonder your species is so resilient. Admiral Nguyen met the ship at Earth Space Command's orbital station. She greeted the Veleron delegation formally, then turned to Captain Wright and his crew. "You've done Earth proud," she said. "The Confederation Council has called an emergency session to discuss both the Cracks threat and Earth's role in the Confederation. Going forward." 2 days later, the emergency session began. The great chamber of the Confederation Council on the neutral planet Arcturus IV was filled with representatives from 27 species. Ambassador Zorel stood at the center, addressing the assembly. "Honored representatives," he began, "I stand before you today because of the courage and skill of humans. When our vessel sent a distress call, it was the U's Horizon that answered. When the Cracks boarded our ship, it was human Marines who faced them in direct combat to save us. When we needed protection, it was Earth that provided it without hesitation." The chamber was silent as Zorel continued. "For too long, many in this Confederation have viewed humans with suspicion and fear. Yes, they come from a world more dangerous than most of ours. Yes, they have evolved with greater physical capabilities and a more direct approach to threats. But today I tell you that these very traits make them not a danger to us, but our greatest allies." The Arcturian chairperson spoke next. "A council has reviewed the sensor logs from the human vessel. It is clear that this Cracks Dominion represents a serious threat to Confederation security. Their aggression and their interest in our defense networks suggest they are planning further actions against us." A representative from the Saurian Alliance, a species known for their analytical minds, stood. "The question before us is simple. How do we respond to this new threat? Most Confederation species have limited military capabilities. We have enjoyed peace for so long that we have forgotten how to defend ourselves." Ambassador Zorel raised the small metal cylinder he had protected. "During the attack, this contains the defense codes the Cracks were trying to steal. Had they succeeded, many of our worlds would be vulnerable. We need a new approach to security in this changed galaxy." Admiral Nguyen stepped forward. She had been invited to represent Earth at the session. "The United Earth Space Command offers its full support to the Confederation. We propose a joint defense initiative with human ships and personnel helping to protect Confederation worlds and interests." For the next several hours, the Council debated the proposal. Some representatives expressed concerns about giving humans a greater military role. Others argued that the Cracks threat left them no choice. In the end, the vote was clear. Earth would become the Confederation's primary defense partner. 1 month later, Lieutenant Carter and Sergeant Joe Foster stood in a large hangar at Earth Space Command's Mars base. Before them were 50 aliens of various species: Valerans, Arcturians, Saurians, and others. All had volunteered for a new program, the Confederation Joint Defense Force. Carter looked at the diverse group. Some were tall and willowy like the Velerans. Others had scales or fur or extra limbs. All looked somewhat nervous. "Welcome to basic training," she said clearly. "You've all volunteered to learn Earth's defense techniques. The training will be difficult. Our methods may seem strange or even shocking to you, but remember why you're here: to protect your worlds and your people." Joe stepped forward. "On Earth, we have a saying, the strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire. Our planet made us tough. Now we'll help make you tough too." As the first mixed species defense force began their training, ships from Earth were already departing to patrol Confederation borders. The Deathworlders had found their place in the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as protectors. And somewhere beyond known space, the Crack's Dominion was planning its next move, unaware that the humans they had underestimated were now preparing. The entire Confederation for war. The universe had changed. The call for help had been answered, and the courage of Earth would echo among the stars for generations to come.